Hey everyone, it's me, it's Michael B. Happy Monday everybody, and yeah, sometimes you gotta go full Michael Bolton. I know what P-Dubs has been doing in the chat. I'm gonna tell you the funny thing, ever since I hit the countdown button, there's been an ambulance or a police car that's going off in the background, and it is literally driving me nuts, and it won't stop. I thought for a second it was going to stop before I went live, but no, it came back stronger than ever. I think it's finally gone. You gotta understand, I grew up in the woods. I'm not used to the city living still after 20 years of having like cars and sirens and stuff. Like, I lived in the woods. Happy Monday everybody. Tonight it's a fun episode. We're going to do an online suggestion box for Arcade1Up, and this is going to be constructive feedback for them. Like, this is not a show where you get to come in and just trash on Arcade1Up. Everybody's done enough of that. People have been disappointed lately, but instead, take that disappointment and turn around and provide some constructive feedback for them on what you think they can do going forward, what you want to see. What are some dream cabs? What are some feature improvements you guys would like to see? What about new products that just came out with the Projectorcade? Is there something else you think would be a better product for them to come out in the future with? That's what we're talking about tonight. And hey, if you want to mention some considerations for other companies like Act Games, II Arcade, feel free to do those too. This is your show. You guys tell me what we're talking about tonight. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me. This is Chill and Chat with Michael B. Steve B. Arcade1Up is beginning to fade faster than Michael Bolton's here in the 90s. I don't think so. What is your thoughts on the new Sega 32X SCE-X model? I heard it will be X-rated. I haven't seen that rebot. Kevgret sent you. Kevgret said, I should have been on your show today, P-Dubs Arcade Loft. More light gun games. Time Crisis House of the Dead. That's a good comment, Seth Turner. So, guys, how can we start over when the fighting never ends? Oh, here we go. This is the whole time you guys are going to be singing Michael Bolton songs to me, aren't you? Okay, so let's start. This is all about feedback to Arcade1Up on what we would like to see from them. Oh my god, the Michael Bolton stuff. So tonight, guys, let's talk about, first off, dream cabs. Let's talk about cabs that you guys want to see them make. Just give me a second. You guys seen, I did a video a little while ago and I talked about my top 5 Arcade1Up cabinets I would like to see them make going forward. My dream cabs. So I had Robotron, I had G.I. Joe, I had Tappers, I can't remember the rest, Terminator 2, Donkey Kong, and what was the other one? I can't remember now off the top of my head. But Time, Love, and Tenderness. I want you guys to tell me what you think are some of the cabs that Arcade1Up should do that are dream cabinets. So let's go through the chat here and see what people have there. I see a Virtual Racing here from JKB. I agree with Virtual Racing. That would be a really good one. Don Chafee. Was it Don Chafee? Vic Vicious says Area 51 or T2. Like, yeah, absolutely. T2 is one they absolutely have to do at some point going forward. Paperboy, which they would argue they've done on the Midway Legacy cab, but in fact, it's on there, but it's not really on there because you don't have the accurate controls. I know what they're going to say. What other games do you put on the Paperboy cabinet? And that's one, if they were going to do it, that would have to be a special order one that they would have to do some kind of Kickstarter pre-order from the website in order to make it work. So I'm trying to go down and catch up with you. Guilty Gear or Guilty Gear X is my dream cabinet, Walter Hepner says. That's an interesting one. I think that's a little after my time, so I don't know. Cruisin' and Time Crisis. A cruising game altogether. Another driving game would be really good. Clax is an interesting one. Area 51. Chris Kingsborough says Pole Position, which I absolutely love. Classic arcade collectors, they all talk about Pole Position. That seems to be the game to get. Donkey Kong, we're going to see it there. I said it before, I will say it again. Give me a premium Arcade1Up Silver Strike, Meatball Saucy says. Meatball Saucy, we're going to come back to that because I think that's going to fit more in the line of new products. Right now, we're still talking about the 3/4 scale Arcade1Up cabinets we're all used to. Shotgun Sean, it's nice to see you, brother. Since we took a step backward, Simpsons would be a dream cab. Simpsons is still coming. Cruising USA, I really like. Qbert or We Riot. P-Dubs, I'm mystified how they haven't done a Qbert yet. NFL Blitz. I think NFL Blitz is on the horizon. That's going to be a tough one, though. Stephen C., thank you so much for joining the Michael B. Only Flans. Kessel's Arcade Afterburner would be another great one with original controls. 100% agree. JKB says Kiss Pinball. I would love for them to do more classic pinball tables. Right now they have that exclusive contract with Zen Studios, which means you're getting Zen, Zen Original, Star Wars, Marvel, some of their other licenses, and the only real pinball tables they're making are the ones in the Williams collection that Zen does. So it's an exclusive partnership. In order for anything else to happen, I think what would have to happen is Zen would have to sign on for another cabinet. Zen could do their own Kiss Pinball. That's the only way I think you would see it. Cameron McCaslin says Gyrus Time Pilot 84 with the Monroe joystick. There he is. He told me he was going to talk about yokes and Monroe joysticks, and there it is. House of the Dead. Jason, and we'll talk about the premium cabs. We'll come back to that 100%. Castlevania Pinball, please. Oh, if they're going to go in their own direction. That's a good one, Lex Ellis. Lucky and Wild need an online play. Ritual Dello, Moonwalker. Moonwalker's a really cool arcade game, and John D is a huge Michael Jackson fan. He's talked about this before. So if they did Moonwalker, it would be one game, and then they would have to throw the Genesis Moonwalker on there as well. Open Ice 2-on-2 Hockey would be another really cool one. I would love that. Hey, JKB, thanks, brother, for joining the Michael B. Only Flans. House of the Dead, Lethal Enforcer, Sunset Riders, Gauntlet Legends, King of Dragons, D&E Beat-em-Ups, Spy Hunter. Yeah, I don't have any complaints about any of those. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Sega Collection. Yeah, I don't think you would get it on the Moonwalker cab, just the way licensing works. I think licensing, if they did a Moonwalker, it wouldn't be a Sega cab, so to speak. Like, it'd still be a Sega cab, but you wouldn't see that as a Sega Legacy cab. Like, when you get into those difficulties of having licenses there, you wouldn't be able to get Michael Jackson on a Sega Legacy cab. That would all be basic Sega games, I think. Tony C says Michael Bolton's greatest hits. Now, Jay Everyday, this is one where I'm 100% in on this. WWF WrestleFest, Superstars, and WrestleMania the arcade game would be a dream cab. Would be for all of us. It would be so hard for them to do with licensing. We've been over that a couple times, so I got to tell you, that's one of the ones that I don't think is going to work. I wish it would. Alien vs. Predator would be really cool. Capcom Bowling, anyone? T2, NFL Blitz, Cruising are my top three. Donkey Kong, 100%. It's probably everybody's biggest one. Tony C says Gunsmoke, which is an interesting one. I'm nostalgic for all the Joel Michael Bolton. Went to the Pinball Hall of Fame in Las Vegas this weekend, and now I want more pinball tables. Me too. I've been looking at a lot of the tables, like the Zachariah tables and the Gottlieb tables on my At Games Legends Pinball. I play like mostly Attack from Mars and those games on my Arcade1Up pinballs. So yeah, I get it. There's a huge interest for me in original pinball. Thomas B says Smash TV, Total Carnage, Robotron, Narc. Yeah, to me, that's an almost perfect cab. I would prefer the Robotron artwork, but yeah, that pretty much right there would be a perfect Midway Williams cabinet right there. Hard Drive and Race Driving. Cameron, is Hard Driving the one that had the really bad 3D graphics? You were in the car and you did the loop-de-loop? Silk 2117, Silk K 2117 says Smash TV, Total Carnage would be an insta-buy. Robotron for me would be the insta-buy. Anything else on it would just help it. Commando Graphics Cab. Ooh, Craig B says Classics, Battlezone, Black Widow, Food Fight, Eyes, Nibbler, Phoenix, Kangaroo, Quicks, Bump a Jump, Moon Patrol, Crazy Climber. Yeah, and Craig, I'm going to agree with you because the more that Arcade1Up has gone on, when they started, you could say there was a real focus on classic arcade games, and it seems to have moved now more towards a 90s to a late 90s arcade aesthetic. So I'm with you. I'd like to see more focus on the classics and less focus on the 90s stuff. because to me, it all kind of blends together, a lot of the 90s stuff. Hard driving is also the heaviest arcade. I did not know that. There's Seth Turner says it. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I'm surprised it took so long for that to happen. Knowing his power says G.I. Joe arcade with some 4-player beat-em-ups. Oh, brother. I will G.I. Joe into existence. If it takes forever, I will will it into existence. Tron with space paranoids. Online capable. I think we are going to get Tron, but I think it's just going to be Tron and discs of Tron. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Baby Pac-Man's tough, Steve V. You know that. Baby Pac-Man's tough. 2-player gauntlet. Dedicated Circus Charlie cab. More Golden Tee. World-class bowling with shuffle shot. I think there's been some talk of when they redo Golden Tee Sling Spade, they're actually talking about maybe putting world-class bowling with it. That was the talk that they were having. They were saying, yeah, we could do Golden Tee and do a bowling game. Silver Strike bowling isn't going to work, but maybe they could do world-class bowling. Marble Madness. I don't know. Marble Madness is pretty cool. Claw Machine is new products. We'll come back to that 100%. Anyways, so if you guys had to pick 100%, not just every cab you would like, but if you had to say Arcade1Up can pick 5 cabs next year they're going to come out with, what specifically are the 5 cabinets you think they need to do? Do you think that, and you can pick 1 driver, and you can pick 1 shooting cab. So you have to have 1 of each. Could be multiples of each, but there at least needs to be 1 driver, 1 shooting cab, and I'll even say 1 pinball, even though we know kind of what the pinball is going to be. So you guys, if you blue sky approach, you guys can have anything. You have to pick 5 cabinets, 1 pinball, 1 shooter, 1 driver, go. Thanks, Jamie Loken. I appreciate it, brother. I hope you're not too sick. I'll be honest, I'm not paying anything near $600 for any 3/4 scale Arcade1Up could make, for real. Yeah, some people are going to be there. And while you guys think about that, I just said for the 5, that's what I want you to throw up there now. Your 5. But I did a couple videos where here comes Zohar. Sunset Riders, Cruisin', Time Crisis, MK1, and Virtual Fighter. Universal Pinball. Carnival's an awesome one. RGT85, what's happening, brother? Daytona USA, House of the Dead, Terminator Pinball. I cannot say highly enough about your choices, Sean. Daytona USA, 100%. House of the Dead, 100%. Terminator Pinball, 100%. Love all those choices. Why not console ports? I mean, that's up to you, man. Like, you can throw console ports on there, but that's not, I don't want to play console ports on an arcade cabinet. It's just not my jam. Tron, Time Crisis, Batman 66 Pinball, Virtual Racer, and Virtual Fighter. Excellent choices, JKB. 100%. Bucky O'Hare cab. Yeah, I don't know if you would do a Bucky O'Hare standalone cab, but I think you could do Bucky O'Hare as, part of another cab. That would be a good one to throw in with G.I. Joe, with Simpsons. Sunset Riders. Time Crisis, Cruisin', Addams Family Pinball, 100%. Sunset Riders. Shondell Rivers, I don't know what that is. Drivin', Cruisin' Serious, Shooter, Time Crisis, Cabs, Robotron Twin Stick. Mwah. Konami Classic Games and Qbert. Yep, love it. Sorry for being late. Don't worry. Everything's great, RGT, brother. All right, so here's the deal. Before I go any further, I made a couple of videos talking about the price increases, and I was caught a little bit off guard. And at the time, I guess the sticker shock just got to me a little bit. So we saw that the new price for Arcade1Up cabinets, Street Fighter 2 Live, Street Fighter Big Blue came out, and it was $769. And I was like, oh my god, that's a big jump. But looking back on it, honestly, right now we have Marvel vs. Capcom here in Canada. It's the only cab that you can get with a chair. It's $6.99. So honestly, an extra $70 for a price increase isn't that bad. So I've actually taken a step back on the whole Arcade1Up price increases being a little bit high. Sticker shocks wore off a little bit. They're not as bad as I originally thought. I'll come back on that. I know people are upset, but I'm thinking about it more now. They're fairly reasonable, and we knew they were going to happen. I didn't think there was a stool with the Arcade1Up Street Fighter 2 Big Blue here in Canada, but seeing it's with the stool, knowing how much those cost, it's $70 price increase. It's not that bad, considering everything that's out there. Okay, Kelsel's Arcade with the super chat. Thank you so much, brother. Okay, so top 5, Time Crisis, Sega Rally, Paperboy with Proper Control, Afterburner, Street Fighter 3rd Streak. Really interesting selection. Time Crisis is a great one. We've heard a lot of rumors about them possibly doing it. Sega Rally, I'm not that familiar with, but I think it came out around the same time as Daytona, around that era. It uses the same technology. Paperboy with Proper Controls. I think a lot of people would like a Paperboy, but again, I think it's one of those ones that would have to be, you could do a Kickstarter directly from the website to do it. Afterburner, I love Afterburner. Street Fighter 3rd Strike, I'm not as familiar with the Street Fighter 3rd Strike. I've had it on systems, but I didn't play a ton of it, so good choices though, brother. It's not paying more than $4.99, and there's some people that are just like, yeah, you know what? $5.99 is bad, but $6.49, ouch. I know. NFL Blitz, Donkey Kong, Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Gross Gaming says 3rd Strike would be a day one purchase. I'm surprised they haven't gone in that direction. They've kept doing more and more Street Fighter cabs, but they've always kind of gone down and mixed them around. They haven't gone up. Hi, Dan Z. What's happening, brother? Daytona makes so much sense. I'd pay top dollar for it for a sit-down. I would too. Now, Sean, for you with the sit-downs, it wouldn't be that big a deal because I don't think you put your cabs on risers anyways, so the sit-down will be the same height as the cabs that you just have there. Like us riser folk, I had an Outrun and I had it on the floor, and when you have it on the floor next to all your other cabs, it looks so small, but I think they need to do it sit down, 100%. I think sit down's a great idea. They just need to rework it a little bit. House of the Dead, Daytona, Moon Patrol, Tron Pinball will be Twilight. Oh man, Twilight Zone Pinball would be an excellent one. Yeah, NFL Blitz. NFL Blitz is going to happen. They talked about that. I think NFL Blitz is within the next year or 2 years. That's what I would guess. At Games, 3 to 4 bargain with options. Ritual Dello, I'm not 100% sure, brother. Yeah, I'm about 5'10", 5'11" myself, RGT. We need a true Street Fighter collection to include Alpha and the 3 series. That would be a great idea. That's what I thought Big Blue was going to be. I thought Big Blue was mostly going to be Street Fighter games. I was a little surprised. Not disappointed. I mean, Big Blue has, like, you know, Saturday Night Slam Masters, the sequel, King of Dragons. No, it doesn't have King of Dragons. It's Knights of the Round. There's a lot of quality on that cab. Tetris Mini, 300 plus shipping. Is it 300 plus shipping? Blitz is 2 years. I think so. I think within the next 2 years. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think we're going to see it this year. I don't know if we're going to see it next year. Stern Pinball, yeah. Any Nintendo license, we'd all like to see that. Yeah, guys, so Satan's Hollow, Karnoff, oh man, 720, like, with the actual boombox light-up marquee, that would be pretty tight. I want to see a tube and cab with that. I've talked about this a bunch of times. Anyways, we could stand here and talk about the cabs we want all the time. I've already said my list. I think Arcade1Up knows. They've got a list of the 50 top arcade games of all time that they want to get out there. They're also working with retailers. We all hope they get to that point where Arcade1Up becomes enough of a brand that they can tell the retailers what they want to put in the store and the retailers just take it. That's the goal, and hopefully it happens at some point. The other reason we're doing this, I just want to be clear. So a couple of weeks ago, they had an interview with the new Tastemaker CMO, Bashir Zerul, and he talked about, they've got a strong relationship with their community, and that's how they decide what cabs they're going to make, what improvements they're going to make, all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing here tonight, and I meant to mention that as soon as we started off, but of course I didn't mention it. So we're trying to give them a list of what we wanted to see here. Like for me, I'm at a point where I want to see more classic arcade games. Like, I want Robotron, I want Dragon's Lair. So I'll move on to the next one. We can talk about Dream Cabs all night, but what I want to talk about is what other things we want to see from Arcade1Up. So I talked about in the thumbnail and all that stuff, I talked about new features and also new products, but let's talk about some other things we want to see from them. I put John D in the thumbnail, and there's a good reason for that, because I think I want this, and I think a lot of other of us want this too, Glenn's Retro Show just said it. We want to see more from Arcade1Up in the community. We'd like to see them involved again. I know that they took a break when John D took a step back, and they haven't really been involved. But I would love to see them more involved in the community again. I would love to see them take part in some shows. Not necessarily my show. I'm not out here begging for them to be on my show. But, if they wanted to go on Retro Buzz, if they wanted to go on 1UP Weekly again, if they wanted to go on the Super Game Room Dudes, or they just wanted to work with some people and get involved in the community, talking to people again, I would love to see that. I would love to see them put some announcements out there. Like, there's some information out there that's just, it's not doing a lot of good stuff for them right now. Like, I guess no answer they think is better than some answer, but, we've all been waiting very patiently for some kind of update in terms of Attack from Mars. They're working on it. I know for a fact they're working on it. And, the guy, Mel Kirk, put some information out there saying that they threw some information out there. That Mel Kirk did, that there is a patch already done, but that's not good information. It's kind of hard to explain. But it would be nice if Arcade1Up was doing the rounds or talking to somebody, doing something, and pass some information out there. Then we had the mix-up P-Dubs brought up about Turtles in Time. The Turtles in Time posting on the Canada Best Buy site listed a bunch of extra games, and nobody answered any of my questions behind the scenes. Nobody came out and said anything. I found out after the fact that it was a mistake. Arcade1Up apparently gave a wrong list to Best Buy and had Best Buy retract the ad that they put up. I mean, it's this kind of stuff that if they just had some kind of community liaison, somebody to talk to the community, somebody to work with people, not to put themselves in a bad situation or something, but just somebody involved with the community, it would be really cool. So that's something I would like to see. Let me know. Ritual Dello says John D will end up working for Act Games. Who knows? Anything could still do it. To me, he's still working with Arcade1Up. DJ Boy and B-Rap Boys. Thank you so much for the super chat, Digipunk. DJ Boy and B-Rap Boys. I know DJ Boy, but I know it because I think it was a Genesis game. I didn't know it was an arcade game. I'd have to check that out. Glenn says, that's what I tried to do. John D should get with Ralph and start a new 1UP Weekly. I don't know. It would just be nice to see people involved on shows and stuff again and just get some basic information out there from Arcade1Up. I mean, it wouldn't take too much time for them. They don't care. I don't think they don't care. I don't know. I can't answer you on that, but that's something I want. Does anybody else want that? John D is hosting a weekly cigar show. DJ Boy was Genesis based on an arcade game. Yeah, so I'll have to go look out there. But some information. Even if you don't want some kind of weekly representative, wouldn't it be nice just to get some information on what's going on with the company? Like, another thing, I've patiently been waiting for replacement parts from Arcade1Up. So I'm waiting for the marquees to come back out. So I'm waiting on a Marvel Superheroes and a Centipede light up marquee, and I'm just, why not do their own show and control the message? At least we would have something. JKB brings up an interesting point. Scott Gray says he'd settle for a newsletter. Well, I don't know. It's kind of difficult because sometimes I know where Arcade1Up's coming from. They're coming from a bit of a situation now that WWE's going through where they think their fans hate them and that the fans are just here to rag on them. So WWE's going through that. They think that the fans are giving really negative feedback, and what they're doing is it's all negative. That's what I think. But I mean, it's not. Like, I mean, there is some people out there that are just going to hate on everything you do. There's no way to get around that. I'm sorry. But there's people out there that legitimately love what you're doing. Like, I love Arcade1Up. I've gone nuts with the arcade stuff. And believe me, I don't need to be out here saying negative things about your company to try to get attention or get views. Man, I could have stuck to doing videos about Nintendo games, and I would have got a lot more views than I got. I probably alienated most of my fan base that I already had, or, you know, the people that watch my channel, with conversion that I started talking more about Arcade1Up. I'm providing constructive criticism because I love your product and I want to see it get better, you know? And I think there's other people out there, too, that like to do it. But, yeah, WWE does get so much flack. Some of it's very, very, very much deserved, though. Very, very much deserved. If you watch Raw lately, very much deserved. And the opposite problems on Perp. Yeah, I know, like, that's not what I'm talking about, though. They're excellent. Their customer service in terms of getting you stuff, I've had some work with them recently, and I'll give 100% now. They really help me out. The problem is the parts to buy, replacement parts to buy. And yeah, Herb Wars knows. I've been doing Nintendo stuff for years, and I used to get huge views on all my Nintendo videos and stuff like that. I'm just here to see Michael B say soury. It's the best. But, you know, I don't make YouTube just to get views. I make YouTube to talk about the things I'm interested in. So, there we go. Zohar themed MK cab. Zohar, no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of a person, even if you're not a fan of the product. I know WWE is going back live on Friday, and I'd like to say that when they go live, they're going to get a surprise at the reaction from low ticket sales, and they're going to get a reaction from negative fan reactions, but they'll just gloss that over anyways. They'll cover up the low ticket sales, tarping off areas, moving people, and they'll pipe in whatever reactions they want. It's just, I don't know. I wish. Anyways, I don't want to be too negative about wrestling tonight. I'm trying to be more positive about it. It's like when he says, Harold, hey guys, give it up. Monday Night Genie is far better than Monday Night Raw. You guys are replacing. I watched Monday Night Raw every single Monday night for years, and you guys have replaced my interest, something I can do Monday night. I agree, Michael. Constructive feedback, I think they welcome. People started getting nasty. I know the internet is, but people don't need that. Yeah, some people did get nasty. And, like, the group got big, and whenever, like, you know, we had 20,000 people in the fan page. Thank you very much, Kongs R Us. We had 20,000 people in the fan page, and some people are really rough in there. Like, you ask a legitimate question, then all of a sudden you'll get, like, 8 or 10 people jumping down your throat, and that can happen. But, you know, Arcade1Up need to sift through that and know there is some legitimate feedback out there. Like, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to do here. This is supposed to be a constructive area for us to say things about Arcade1Up we would like them to do in the future. Yeah, well, Meatball Saucy, it's the same with NXT. I mean, NXT at times is a phenomenal show, and again, you say, I can't believe this is the same company. R.I.P. Mr. Wonderful, 100%. You know what sport is popping like never before? UFC. I've never got into UFC. I watched it when it first came out. Like, I watched UFC when it first started, and it was just like this, you know, Mortal Kombat tournament where you had no weight classes. It was just a giant tournament where you could have a giant guy facing a little guy, and that really piqued an interest to me. I was like, it's blood sport. And the more it became like boxing and more professional, I don't care. I want it to be blood sport. If someone brings back blood sport and makes that a real thing, makes blood sport tournaments, tell me about it. I'll pay for that on pay-per-view again. I would also like the option to buy more games PCBs. Yeah, conversion cabs isn't a bad idea. Actually, I agree with that. Like when I saw X-Men vs. Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom originally, I looked at it and said, you know what? That's the exact same cabinet that my Marvel Superheroes is. You know, I don't know if I want to buy another fighter, but I would certainly like to buy another PCB so I could just pop it in and out. So that would have been a good thing to do, but, you know, they didn't do that. They released another cab, and I ended up spending a full $600 to buy the new cab, so... Just ordered the the MVSX is actually sold through Tulsa Arcades. I didn't know that. But Mike, we made suggestions, we talked on different shows, and things seem to have gotten worse. We're at a low point, in my opinion. Yeah, we might be. We might be. I don't know. I certainly think their reluctance to talk to the community and to provide any feedback is certainly disappointing. I mean, I still want better rises from Arcade1Up. I know WKRP in Cincinnati. $2.99 prices are not long gone. You can still buy $2.99 cabs with all the original $2.99 features, such as non-light up marquees and no risers. I've said this. You can go to Walmart right now and buy a Tempest Legacy. Well, not Tempest. I don't know about that, but definitely a Walmart. You can go to Walmart and buy the Namco Legacy Edition just with no light up marquee and no riser. I know the Mortal Kombat one is there as well, so yeah, it's there. Konami Classics cab with Contra Arcade, Jackal, Gradius, Sunset Riders, Blades of Steel. I don't think Sunset Riders would be on it, but I think you might see a Konami Classics cab coming at some point. A lot of those games on there, maybe Frogger, maybe Time Pilot 2. That's a possibility. 100% my cock hurts. Where my Walmart charges $3.15 now. If the price did slightly go up, I apologize, but that's still the $2.99 cab. Yeah, I mean, this is just a place for people to go. Like they said, Bashir Zarul said, that's where they get their ideas for what cabs they want to do. So, yeah, we can tell them, these are the cabs we want. Just pop it in, gotta go back to building a puzzle. I agree with Sling Spade. Also love the David versus Goliath matches in UFC. Yes! He knows exactly what I'm talking about. I remember the first one, there was this giant guy. It was like Tank Abbott. I don't think it was actually Tank Abbott. And there was this little tiny guy who jumped up on his shoulders and elbowed him to death. And like you would not think the little guy had any chance, but he just killed him with the elbows. No, I don't think Attorney Arcade, you gotta understand, like, Tastemakers is actually a pretty big company. I have 2 Big Lots in my area here in New York, selling Gem 1 Galaga for $1.99. Fire sales at Walmart Canada. We would all like that. I'm out at anything Arcade1Up over $4.99, and some people are going to be. Some people 100%. You know, I said this in my price episodes, like, you know, sometimes there's a certain price point that gamers are willing to go, and you might go over them, and that's just it. They might lose people. Like, the price is, I don't know if the right term is inelastic. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's someone commenting here. RGT85 lives in human filth. Dog meat was good. I won my Purple Heart sticker from it, but the risk was I had to eat my childhood good jelly the Spanky. I don't know what is going on, brother. I don't think Arcade1Up has lack of focus. Like, that's not fair to say. I mean, we're going through a pandemic. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. You know, I get it. But I think right now is just a bad point with the fact that there's a lot of stuff coming out that we're not getting answers on. No one's really acting as a representative. At least John D, when he was out there, he didn't give you a direct answer, but he'd say soon. But sometimes someone would be on a show and they'd talk about that, and they were accountable. I mean, you think about when Arcade1Up first came out, and people said, oh my god, the decks, the control decks, they're rubbing off, and the art's coming off them. I mean, they were right, Johnny on the spot, and they came out with those deck protectors. They were sending free deck protectors to our early adopters, anybody who bought the cabinets. That's the kind of stuff where you're like, wow, this company is really serious about making sure there's a good experience, making sure they're good to people. And now we get situations like problems with the legacy cabinets and no one's saying anything. The update for Attack from Mars, just some kind of ETA on that. No one's saying anything. It's nuts. Glennon's Retro Show. The issue with Arcade1Up is they're catering to the masses, not the people like us who are real collectors and arcade lovers, yet we want them to be, and that's where the problem is. You're very, very, very right, Glenn. I don't know if you watch wrestling, Glenn, but I always say this with wrestling, too. That's the problem. Like, you have wrestling hardcores that you don't have an idea of what they want, but they're trying to cater to an audience that just offends the hardcore people, and I think that's at a point where we're to with Arcade1Up. They're doing stuff to grow their brand and appeal to the masses, and in some ways, it's offending the more hardcore fans, and that's where there's a disconnect, because it seems like they're getting a lot of hate from the hardcore fans, so they're saying the fans don't like us, but you're going to lose touch with your fans if you don't pay attention to them too. I think they did a pretty good job coming out with like Dragon's Lair, other things like that, but what's actually been released that we can actually buy, there's some real misses in there, and it is what it is. Iron Man. You mean Ivan Stewart's Iron Man, right? I wish I could say I've had many conversations with him, and that's what I can say about that. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. You don't know how many times someone's reached out to me and said that they bought a cab because of something I said or one of my videos. So I get that, man. Like, people come over, they see what I'm doing, and, I think that their way to reach the masses isn't so much some of the things they're doing, but word of mouth. Like, a $500 arcade game may seem crazy, but I've got friends like my buddy Mike Tendo. I don't know if you guys know him, but Dongled, he does a show called Dude, You Haven't Played This Game. And, he always made fun of me and all my Arcade1Ups and said it's not something I'll ever buy, not something I'll ever buy. But here we are. He's waiting patiently for the X-Men arcade to come out. I finally wore him down because he's seen so much of my stuff. And I get told that all the time. People are like, he actually bought one of the $50 Galaga countercades, and that was his first in, and now he's looking to buy another cabinet, and it came from the fact that he was kind of watching my stuff. So I think word of mouth is a way that you'll get him into more, I don't know about the masses, but you'll definitely get him more into the retro gaming sphere that's not really looking at them right now. Like, how I originally got interested was through RGT85. Like, I used to watch Sean's videos on the Arcade1Up, and that's kind of what made me go crazy. About 4 cabs off a while. Jamie, don't say that, man. You're making me feel terrible now. Oh, well, Jason M., I appreciate it. I'm sorry, guys. Just 1 second. Dan Freeman, I almost bought Frogger because of you. Almost. I love Frogger, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you. It doesn't have the right music, it doesn't have the right artwork on the cab, and it's got that terrible screen filter, but I still love it. Anyways, so we talked about that. What about new products? So they come out with this stuff seemingly out of nowhere. They come out with a Projectorcade. A lot of times I see these new products, and I'm like, who's this made for? Like, the Projectorcade, I kind of go back and forth on. I kind of get it, but I don't get it. And then the plug-and-play consoles, Michael, you're One-Up's best friend. I try to be. So anyways, yeah, I love my Frogger too. I got pictures of me kissing it. It's one of my favorite things. But anyways, one of the other things is new products that we haven't talked about right now. So we talked about Projectorcade, but what are some of the things we would like to see them meet? Glenn created the Projectorcade. I want spooky Halloween pinball. Yes, Shotgun Sean, we all want that. I was watching videos on that last night. Like, man, oh man, does that look cool. Does that look cool. I would love for Arcade1Up to get involved with a couple other companies. I don't know if Arcade1Up will. I know that AtGames has the freedom to do so. So if they could reach out to Spooky and they can reach out to some of these other companies, because there's a couple new pinball companies. It's not just Stern and Jersey Jack anymore. There's a couple other companies out there. So some more real pinball tables that are being made. That'd be dope. And that Halloween pinball looks incredible. Corbliss says the Infinity table is great, but the apps take some time to develop. I'm still waiting for the Infinity table to come here in Canada. I'm excited to see where that's going to go. So, Projectorcade, Glenn created the Projectorcade, but the Projectorcade that's coming out, that just seemed to come out, and then someone who got it like right away immediately wrote, projector died after 1 hour, and I'm sure like that kind of stuff can happen, but I like some things about it. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, the idea of just the... I said it back when Arcade1Up released their controller, dongle controller. I said, this missed the mark for me, but what I would love is to see a control deck that you could just plug into your TV and play the games. And that's essentially what they did through this. Like, I'm probably never going to buy the Projectorcade, but I look at that Golden Tee, which is just a control panel, and if I didn't have my Golden Tee cab and I wanted to play Golden Tee, I mean, they sold a real arcade version one for like thousands of dollars, or you can buy the Arcade1Up one if it was reasonably priced around $100, $150. I would consider buying that. And you know, that's an awesome way to basically play Golden Tee. Yeah, I like the swappable decks. I think that's a cool idea. Swappable decks to play on your TV. Showergate drowned. And see, thank you so much, Digipunk, for the super chat again. I appreciate it. What is this warts thing, Glenn? What's going on here? See, and this is the way I thought Arcade1Up was going to go with their new table. Glenn's going to like what I'm about to say here in a minute when I talk about the other Arcade1Up products they should be making. But I thought it was going to be more along the lines of arcade accessories. So I thought for new products, it wasn't going to be like smaller versions. Like, I like those Coleco handhelds. But like some of the other stuff they were coming out with, like the Projectorcade and like the mini TVs, that didn't do a lot for me. But I thought we were going to get more arcade type stuff. So I thought we were possibly going to get a claw machine. Like, there was interest for me to do that. For them to make an ice cold beer, one of those slider type machines. What about dome hockey? Some way to make like a virtual dome hockey table or virtual air hockey table, stuff like that. That's the kind of way I saw Arcade1Up going in new directions. But even if they're just going to stick in the video game sphere, there's stuff out there that can be remade. And I think I've already mentioned this, but this is the one I will die on. What Arcade1Up should have focused on is looking at stuff like the Vectrix. The Vectrix is one of the coolest video game consoles of all time. If you've ever seen it, it's this little, vector graphics machine that comes out there. And I thought it would be such a cool idea for Arcade1Up to get the rights and re-release a Vectrix machine. Like, that would be money, in my opinion. I know Glenn probably has like 7 all wrapped up in bags. It's one of the retro consoles I've never had the privilege of owning. One of the very few I've never had the privilege of owning. So I would love to see Arcade1Up do a mini Vectrix machine. Skee-ball would be tough. Electric dartboard, I know P-Dubs would be all over. Plug a pie into a projector, boom, to die for. I always say, like, you could basically just plug your AtGames Legends Gamer Pro into a projector and you're doing the same thing the Projectorcade does. I own a Vectrix, still play it. I'm very, very jealous of you, Richard Dello. Jason M., I'm also very jealous of you. Like, I'm the kind of dude that I've had multiple Virtual Boys at times, but I've never owned a Vectrix. Vectrix rules, yes it does. You should just buy one and get the multi-cart. Every game and a restored console can be had for the price. Why create a virtual air hockey game when normal air hockey costs a few hundred? Doesn't make sense. We're not talking about that. We're talking about... I know what you're saying, Chris. Like, I've had like air hockey tables in my house, but I mean like a good one. Like you can buy ones that are okay, but like I mean a good one. Maybe air hockey's not the right one. Maybe you can play air hockey on the Infinity game table. Wouldn't mind a digital hockey table. Like, yeah. If you can make it, maybe air hockey's not the right one, but like dome hockey, like ice hockey, something like that. Kissing Frogger gives you warts. Now I understand, Glenn. I won't keep it forever. You're welcome to it when things... oh, you didn't... I'm going to be honest. I love when they do some stuff that's questionable, Bobby. I agree with you. Like, the stuff with... the stuff with the legacy cabs, how they weren't tested before they went out is nuts. Like, I know some of them were tested. Like, we were pretty critical about the screen being horizontal in the Arcade1Up Tempest cab that was coming out. And then very next day you saw John D playing one, saying, no, I think it looks fine. And you know what? That turned out to look fine. It wasn't that bad. But then with the Street Fighter and the Midway Legacy cabinets, I mean... there's no way anybody played those and thought they were fine. Yes, there it is. Glenn's Retro Show. He's got 2 Vectric units, and I guaranteed... yeah, reasonably priced, solid quality bubble hockey would sell big in Canada. Would it be okay WKRP in Cincinnati if it was digital? Because I think that's the only way they could do it. You wouldn't get, like... the ice hockey's a little bit pricey. I agree. Even used, it's hard to find. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, new products, and we talked about different things like that. The big one I wanted to talk about is full-size cabs. Do you think this is an avenue Arcade1Up will ever go in? Do you think there will be a second wave of Arcade1Up pinballs with improvements and online leaderboards? Maybe Rainwater Games. I think more so what you're going to get is you're going to get the second line, so the second Marvel, the second Star Wars, and the second Williams tables, and they might be somewhat better, and I don't know if they'll re-release the first line. You got to understand, as much as we've been on here complaining, and this is one area where I'm just going to be honest with you, as much as we've been on here complaining and talking about how the pinball tables need work, pinball tables need that, they've been a very big seller for Arcade1Up. They can't keep up with the demand. They have no reason to think there's anything wrong with them based on fan feedback and based on retailer and consumer feedback. So, yeah, as much as we're up here saying, yeah, guys, like, there's problems with these pinball tables, they're going to make money anyways. Full-size Pac-Man, $12.99. So, yeah, I don't want to get off this, but the big thing for me was full-size cabinets. Do we think there's ever a time when Arcade1Up are going to do full-size cabinets? Just 1 second, guys. Sorry. Full-size Zack Centertron must have a working coin door. Yep. Cameron says, I don't think full-size makes sense. Lots of places still make those. Still make original full-size cabinets. So, like, you can still go and buy a Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition. WKRP. I see a lot of people saying no. They don't want to see Arcade1Up do full-size. No, I haven't tried Space Shuttle Deluxe yet. Yeah, a lot of people are saying no. Some people, Tool says, I'm sorry, Tool, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. He says, I want full-size arcade titles. You have a Patreon. Can you talk a bit about it? Yeah, Zohar, I'll just tell you, I do have a Patreon account. It's something that, hey, Ant Fanatic, it's something that YouTubers do as kind of like a tip jar. Like some people are a little bit more involved with creating like separate stuff for the Patreon, so it's a way for you to go in, support the content creator, and then they'll do personalized stuff. I was on the fence about doing it for a very long time, and as a YouTuber I kind of didn't do it until after really it had kind of jumped the shark, and then I put some tiers up there, but it's a lot, so I've left my Patreon up there now, and it's essentially a tip jar. I haven't created any tiers. Everything is like, the only tier is $1, and then you get access to everything there, and it's just a way to support me outside of watching my videos, if that's something you wish to do. Pass on full-size cabs. They should stick to their IP and patent on the 3/4 size cab. No, not a second channel, Zohar. No. Oh, I don't know. I just did an update and it started working. You just make sure, Rick, that your At Games Pinball is fully updated. Yeah, like a special game, like if they're going to do a special edition, maybe they could do special edition, like X-Men 6-player, and that would be a full size. Can you imagine how big that would be? It costs like thousands of dollars to ship. Okay, so I'm not seeing as much feedback on the full-size cabs. The thing about the full-size for me that I like would be, yes, the larger control panels and the larger monitor. Zohar is my Patreon, Stringer Film says. Yeah, I had to jump in here. Nobody's making old full-size cabinets. Yeah, no, like there is people making like, what is that? I don't know if it's a full-size cab or not, but you can buy that Pac-Man one from Walmart that's like $3,000. What are we supposed to do with the clip thing on your video? I missed that. What clip thing? I don't know. Get rid of the riser and make an adjustable bench. Okay. Yeah, they're just taller overall. Well, I wouldn't want full size in height if they're still going to be that small. Like, I would like to see something where the control panel was a little bit bigger. Like, let's be honest here, guys. Like, I'm a big dude, and sometimes it's hard to play 2-player. Like, I'll have a buddy over, and I'm like, hey, man, Street Fighter. Hey, man, like, I've got Mortal Kombat here. And, yeah, it's tough, man. Like, we are struggling to stand next to each other on that arcade machine, and I'm trying to do the fatalities on kind of an angled place, so, yeah. Yeah, that's a multicade, not a reproduction cab. Yeah, it's a multicade. Yeah, it is. I was wondering if it is somewhat full-size. That's the only one I've seen. I haven't seen anybody making the full-size cabinets, recreations of them. They should do a 4-player Pac-Man cab. Oh, do you mean like that Party Pac-Man? Yeah, well, Stringer Films, I wish to God. I think Michael B is doing haircuts. Saying a full-size cab's cheaper than... I wish I could get real cabs. I might be in a different place right now. If I could get real arcade cabinets right now, I might be looking at some of them, because there's some stuff that I don't think they're ever going to do that I'm really interested in. So, Pixel Bash, there's the one. Had fun on Rolling Thunder. Pixel Bash is the one I was thinking about. I've seen some people have those. They look really good. Yeah, I don't know if... I certainly... It would be hard for me if Arcade1Up did the full-size cabs, because I think I'd like it, but... I'll link you a full-size recreation once on Twitter. Okay, thanks, Walter. I appreciate that. New build Galagas. Wow, that's interesting. Different place equals divorce. No. I'm plastic. That's possible. Facebook Marketplace, baby. I don't know. We're not green, Zohar. What happened? Hey, Nestatic, what's happening, brother? Yeah, well, that's the thing. Since the pandemic, a lot of people just put more money. Like, they had expendable income because they weren't going on vacation, weren't doing a lot of travel, and they put that into their home. So people were doing stuff like collecting Arcade1Up cabinets like I did, but a lot of people went out and just started collecting like real arcade cabinets. They started buying stuff for their homes and to enjoy them. So maybe the hobby got a little hotter. People spent a little bit more money. Green Beret locally for 500. Killer Instinct 2 arcade cost me 300 years ago, Shotgun Sean says. I lucked out on that, and it came from an arcade I went to when I was a kiddo. My friend and I... Oh, that's awesome. Hey, King Cool Dad, thank you so much, brother. Yeah, guys, like... I mean, the last little while, there's been a lot of negativity towards Arcade1Up. People are disappointed, whether it be with the games that are coming out, or the misinformation, stuff like that. And, you know, I think that us fans need to tell Arcade1Up that you guys need to... Game Room Goodies in Arizona makes full-size repro cabs. They use LCDs, though. That's okay, Ralph. Like you said yourself, I mean, CRTs are going to be extinct at some point, so, you know, maybe there'll be a lot of LCDs going around. But thanks, man, for the heads up. I'd like to see that, full-size repro cabs. And thank you so much for the super chat. But anyways, like I was saying, we've got to... you know, not hold them accountable, that's not the right term, but, you know, we as fans have to pass along some information on them, what we think they can do, mainly communicate with us, tell them what cabs we want to see coming out and spin that direction, be positive, you know, and just be good people. They've got a lot of negativity, and I think that's why they've moved away from the community here recently, but let's be positive. There's a way to tell them that you want things different or you want changes, but in a good way where you're not absolutely crapping on them on Facebook. And I think that's the way we could do it. I hope that's kind of where we went with this tonight. I wanted it to be a fun experience where we talked about dream cabs. Like someone had suggested to me, why don't you do an episode on dream cabs? And I kind of doubled on that because we could talk about dream cabs, but it's also a cab based on the suggestion I received, which then turned into a suggestion for Arcade1Up. So, you know, we've got that going for us, so we can do that in a positive way, talk about suggestions, talk about good things, talk about them bringing back John D maybe, or at least having some representation from Arcade1Up on shows like the 1UP Weekly, on shows like the Retro Buzz, maybe even on Super Game Room Dudes, or even with us. You know, Glenn's here from Retro Buzz, Ralph's here from 1UP Weekly. You know, there's people out there that want to work with you guys. So, I mean, if you're listening, which I don't know if you are, you know, let's talk. Let's get you connected with the community so you can answer some questions. Not everybody out there is terrible and looking to rip you apart. Some people just, you know, want to talk to you and they're excited about what you do and, you know, want to just chat. So let's do that. Anyways, I hope if anybody from Arcade1Up has heard this, take everything that people have told you here in the chat as constructive feedback. That's what it meant to be. And let's see some good stuff. Let's get that Tron cabinet out there. Make my Robotron 2084. Anyways, guys, I do think they kind of had their heads up their butt right now, though. It's hard to sugarcoat it. Ralph, we're all trying to say the same thing here now. They need to talk to their community. So, Retro Ralph at Walmart today, buying a $75 Pac-Man. Stay positive, people. First world problems, 100%. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for checking it out tonight. Some way we can mimic a CRT, even how it looks with glass. That is a very cool idea because that is going to be one of the biggest problems with the arcade industry going forward. Right now, even if you watch the last episode of John's Arcade, not the last, but the last where he went out to free play, they talked about it and they, oh, Cameron, don't tell me that because I will come down to Nashville to play your Robotron cabinet. But the biggest issue is even these guys that are hardcore arcade enthusiasts are taking LCDs and putting them in cabinets that aren't classics cabinets because they realize that the CRT stuff is winding down. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful night. Everybody be good, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you next time.